Well, now comes the stretching part of the segment. And to do that first, we have to get the muscles loosened up. We just did that with the other part. So first thing you're going to do is I want you to lay down on your back. I want you to take your right leg, and I want you to just bring it up to your chest. If you can, reach around to the bottom of your foot and help you pull it up. You can let your head go all the way back. What you're trying to do is release the hip flexor muscles here, which will allow the hamstring to stretch a lot better when we go and stretch the hamstrings in just a second. Now bring the left leg up. Try and feel that it's nice and relaxed. You're pulling it up. You can hold it there, wherever it's at. If you can only get it a little ways, go ahead and still do that. Now bring both legs up and allow your back to stretch. And just before we start stretching the hamstring, what I'm going to have you do now is just a couple of stomach crunches to get that warmed up. If you're on a nice hard floor, be careful that you don't bruise your back too much. So when you do a stomach crunch, the main thing you're trying to do as you do that is you're trying to lift your hips off the floor and your upper back off the floor so that only your low back is on the floor, and it's very similar to just a stomach crunch if you were just doing stomach crunch or you were just doing lift up to the back. Okay, now with that under control, the first thing you want to do for a stretch is just let your legs be out in front of you and reach over. If you can only grab down around where your calf muscles are, only go that far. If you can reach all the way over to the toes. Now, we're not going to hold it for 2 minutes right now, but if you want to create flexibility, find a nice spot where it's not hurting your legs too much, that you can lean over, you can keep your shoulders fairly relaxed, you're not bending at the back too much, you're keeping it fairly straight, that you can reach over, grab your feet. Now, if you just want to stretch, you only have to hold that for like 10 or 15 seconds. But if you want to create flexibility, it's something you want to hold for a minute to 2 minutes. If you can hold it for 2 minutes, that's better yet. So you need to be able to find, and you want to be able to, the first time, your legs may be warmed up, they may not be. So as you're doing this, you may want to let off and then go into another exercise, like one where you bring your feet together, grab hold of your ankles, bring your elbows to the insides of your thighs there, sit up very straight, and then you're going to push down with your elbows on the inside of your thighs, and then once you get a nice firm position, try and pull your knees together. I'm trying to pull my knees this way. I'm not going to let that happen, and that's really stretching and developing the muscles on the inside of my legs there. So I'm pulling them in, and I do that for about 3 seconds, and I relax and push down a little bit more. Then I pull them in, and I relax and push down just a little bit more. Okay? Now, with that one done, let's go out here and stretch again. Reach over, grab hold of the feet. For some of you people who are really flexible, you should be able to reach all the way around your feet, put your head down on your legs. But as you do it, still try and keep the shoulders very relaxed. Try and keep the back fairly straight. It's going to be curved just a little bit. Now, after you've done that for a little bit, I'm not going to hold it for a really long time right now, but normally I try and hold this for about a minute. All right? Next exercise I'm going to have you get into is just bend your left leg across the front of you. Put your right leg over the top of it. All right? If you're looking at me from the back, I take my left leg and bend it in front of me. I take my right leg and bend it across the top of that, so that as I'm sitting there, I have my right leg across the top of that one. First thing I'm going to do is put my left elbow across my right leg to stretch the backbone a little bit. Don't push that too hard. And then what you want to do then is bring your left hand around your right leg and just feel now the stretching through here. Okay? This is your gluteus muscles, your hip muscles there, where the hip socket sets. Just feel that stretching nicely there. Now, when you're doing this, again, it's something you probably hold for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, even 2 minutes. And you want to breathe as you do it. You want to stay fairly relaxed. Be careful of your arm, not putting too much tension on your back here. Nice and relaxed. All right? Now, when you switch to the other side, just before you get there, put both feet out in front of you. Try and do a couple of stomach exercises again. Keep the stomach very firm. Little stomach exercise there. Gets the legs warmed up a little bit. Now you have your right leg crossed in front of you. Your left leg over the top. Try and put your left foot flat. Try and feel that your right leg's relatively relaxed in that position. Bring your right hand across the front of it. Again, try and look behind you and just do that a little bit. That stretches the backbone. Bring your right hand across the front of your left leg there. And again, feel the stretching across the outside of your leg, across the glutes here in the back. Okay? Right where I have the microphone transmitter. Okay. Now you're holding that position. You're nice and relaxed. Good. Next thing we're going to do, just straddle stretch. Pop the legs out to the side. Go over to the right one first. Now here you want to be able to sit up straight as you do that. You want to make sure that the feet stay pushed out as far as they can, and don't let the legs turn in. Think of keeping the legs turned out. As you reach over to the right leg, feel a little stretch in that. Try and keep your butt sitting flat on the floor. Try and keep the left leg turned out. Don't allow it to turn in, so you want to keep it rolled slightly out. And just do about 10 or 15 seconds the first time to the right leg, and then go over to the left leg. Again, do about 10 or 15 seconds to it. Again, like I said, we're going to keep this a little bit shorter right now since it's on tape. Now, after you've done that, go over to the other one. Now, you can bring both hands over to that right leg now. Scooch around this way. I'm going to bring both hands over to the right leg, and I'm still going to try and keep the left leg flat on the floor, the hip flat on the floor. As I reach over to that, I'm going to try and keep my left foot turned out, and I'm leaning completely over my right leg, and I'm feeling the stretch underneath, and I'm also really feeling it up in here, all on the underneath side as I stretch over. Okay, go to the other side. Same thing on this side. You're going to try and hold that for 10, 15, 20 seconds, half a minute, whatever. Okay, and let's say you've gone over there for a half minute now. Now, when you reach over to the right side, what I want you to do is try and take your left hand over the top of your head. Let your right hand come under. Feel the stretch all the way across here on that left side. It'll happen through the lat muscles back here, stretching that up. Okay, and then you can bring the hand back, bring the head on over, and do it again on the other side. Hand comes over, head's underneath. Put your left hand over on your right thigh. Breathe as you do it. I like to hold on to my big toe here because it gives me something to hold on to. For those people who are really flexible, they don't even have to hold on to that. And you stretch over to it. And then you can finish just by holding on to both feet, leaning your body over just a bit. And ladies, these are the kind of things you want to work on every day. Guys, too, if you have the time, because gradually it'll develop your flexibility more and more and more for all the tricks that you want to do. Okay? Next thing we're going to do is you're going to roll over on stomach, and I want you to do a back up. Before we did some sit-ups, and now I want you to think of just keeping your pelvis flat on the floor, keeping your feet out behind you. Use the palms of your hand, keep your shoulders relaxed, and just try and lift up through your back. Do that just for a couple seconds, relax, and do it again. Do that 2 or 3 times. Again, try and keep your neck relaxed, keep your back relatively relaxed. Try and keep it elevated so that you're really trying to lift up in the air, but you're keeping your pelvis on the floor. Now what you want to try and do is let your hands go behind you and lift. Do that for about 3 seconds, and then lift up again. You'll find you probably have a bit more flexibility now after doing it without the hands. Take it back down. Now do a couple of these, and lift up one more time. Do as many of those as you can, and this you'll find it really helps your back strength. It'll really get rid of a lot of the back pains if you're combining this. One thing I want to mention, don't do anything that really hurts. The muscles may stretch just a little bit here and there, but don't do things that actually hurt the bones, hurt the muscles. You have to decide that for yourself. Next thing we're going to do is we're just going to take the right leg, put it flat on the floor in front of us. We're going to take the left leg, and we're going to have the toes so that the ball of the foot's on the floor. And what we're going to do now is take our right elbow and drop it down near our right ankle. What that looks like front to back is here. And I'm trying to keep a track with my right leg, a track with my left leg. I'm using my left hand to support my weight, and I'm bringing my right elbow down here. I'm trying to keep my right knee over the ball of my right foot as I stretch there. What this really does is you'll really feel it releasing the hip flexor muscles here, stretching those. You'll feel it on the front of your left leg, on top, hip muscles, underneath on your right side. So if you do that for a few seconds, next thing we're going to do is I just want you to rest in that position now if you can, and really feel the stretch on the left leg. After you do it for a little bit in this position, then I want you just to pop the left foot down and keep that left leg very straight. Hold your body up. It puts a lot of pressure on it right here. You're balancing on your right knee, and you're balancing by the extended left ankle with the foot on the floor, okay? Then after you've done that for just a little bit, then come up, so you're waiting, put all your weight onto your left knee, keep your body up. You're going to put your right hand on the floor outside your right leg. You can bring your left hand over and try and keep most of the weight resting on your left foot, and just lean over just a little bit. It's a bit like a hurdler type stretch. If I showed you from the back side, trying to keep my left leg fairly straight, very little pressure on the right leg. From this side, right hand's there, and I'm just leaning over, keeping the back fairly straight. You'll really feel a lot of stretch under here. You want to be careful not to bruise the heel. Coming right at you. Now we can switch legs. Now this time, we're going to do just on the left leg what we did on the right leg. Right leg's behind us, have our toes on the floor, left foot flat. Going to drop our left elbow to where near our left ankle. We have our right hand to support our weight, and you really feel it stretch underneath. Stretching back here, I'm going to try and keep my right leg fairly straight. You can do some little rolls in that position. After you stretch that a little bit, come on back, feel the stretch along here. Again, I'm trying to balance between it. I'm really stretching the leg out of that position. All right, after you do a little bit of that, extend the right leg completely so that it's pointed behind you. Same thing. You're really trying to keep your right leg completely locked out. If you do that enough times, and then you stretch the hamstring enough times, you'll find it splits are possible. It only took me about 10 years. But I can do them now. And I just kept doing these exercises every day, sometimes every other day, and I consistently try and do them now to hold on to the flexibility. Again, we're putting our left hand on the ground, trying to keep track there and track here, and bringing our chest over to our leg, not our head so much as you're trying to bring chest over to it. In front of it. Okay, and then from that position, we can go down to one more stretch, and that's the actual hurdler stretch. And that's where just let your left knee come out beside you. If you're really flexible, you can let it be really far behind you. What you're doing here now is just you're going to lean over to your right leg in a more relaxed position. If this really hurts your knee, let the leg turn in front of you, and then go over to the right leg. Both of those will stretch with the leg turned back. Again, don't hurt the knee. This will give you just a bit more stretch in the right leg. After you do that for a bit, find a nice comfortable spot there. Just lay straight back. Let that left foot be bent up under, and you'll find a nice stretch on the front of your left leg. Okay? Let your arms stretch out over your head. Let your head just relax. Hold that for as long as you need, and then switch it around to the other side. Again, my right leg's just out beside me. Left foot's in front of me. I want to try and keep my hips, both hips, on the floor so that my bottom's touching on both sides. That's ultimately what I want to do. And I'm going to reach over and stretch to my left leg. Okay? And again, like I said, if that hurts your knee in any way, don't do it. Bring your foot in front of you and then stretch that way. This is a lot more relaxing on the back and the leg. All right? After you stretch that way just a bit, coming over, then I want you to think about, again, try and relax the foot. This is really stretching the top portion of my leg here. If it's not, you can push your hip up just a little bit, this right hip, as I'm stretching my right leg, and it'll stretch it just a bit more. All right, well, that concludes the stretching portion of the class, and we'll be right back with some lines, balance, and spins.